Welcome to Live at 5. You all right?
No.
You're struggling through the day, but you're doing well.
It's God Hammers is left.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is.
I mean, really, Ned's thing should have been, the title should have been Hammers leaves Everton, really. Ned just left it at
He left it because I think he wanted to put that on the news. He didn't want to ruin the surprise of the news.
You know, I think it's more...
Should have put it like, what will be your memories of James Rodriguez's time at Everton?
Yeah.
What will be your special memories?
Echo Falls will be one, won't it?
Watching him on the television.
Netflix show, starring James Rodriguez. But he has left. I mean, let's address that before we do anything.
Yeah.
He's obviously left the club.
Yeah.
We knew last week he was probably going to go, didn't we, really, when them stories were coming out. So,
yeah,
ultimately, it's tinged of disappointment. The thing of him not being available enough. He was available for only 48% of the games that Everton played while he was here.
Yeah, to be honest, it just feels like a hugely wasted opportunity.
Yeah,
from everyone.
Yeah,
it just feels like very Everton. Ultimately, you're gonna have a player like that. You've got to use him commercially and get what you can out of him on the pitch.
Yeah.
And once Carlo Ancelotti left, then he didn't have the relationships, I imagine, with people at the club. He didn't have the leeway.
Yeah.
And he didn't have it his own way.
Yeah.
And again, it's that thing, isn't it, of like, how much room do you give or how much rope do you give a player? You know, we're always talking about people earning too much money and not doing enough. Now, listen, James Rodriguez, when he was on the pitch, was fantastic. One of the best players I've ever seen play for Everton.
Yeah.
His ability was unreal. But obviously, a lot of the time, he wasn't on the pitch. And Rafa Benitez has come in and decided that he wants players who can play and not have to build two teams, one with James and one without him. Because the thing about having someone like James Rodriguez is, when you've got a player as good as him, you can't replace that.
No.
If he's playing well. And you know you're not going to have him. So it does feel to me like a massively wasted opportunity. But it's like always like Everton, though. It's an Everton thing. It's been an Everton thing for a very long time. Promise a lot and deliver very little. And it's sad. And I know a lot of people will point fingers at different people and different things, but it is what it is. And he's left, and I am sad. I am sad that he's left. But we have to just move on now and just get on with things.
Yeah. Should always under-promise and over-deliver. And Everton do the opposite. Over-promise and under-deliver with everything. The disappointing thing is that he was obviously, like you just said, a fantastic footballer. You know, 15 goal contributions from last season. We never got to see him in the flesh. There's all of that. I think you can... Obviously, Rafa Benitez and him don't work together very well. But there's a bit on both of them.
Of course there is.
He's got to take his share of the blame as well here. But we can't also look away from the fact that it seems as though he's wanted to go anyway the minute Carlo left. He said himself enough times he was only here for Carlo. Carlo went. So, where you've got Alan who's literally put his marker down and wants to play it.
Yeah.
This fella doesn't.
The sad thing is that it will be used by a lot of people as a stick to beat Rafa Benitez, and that's not what we need at the moment as a football club. That's not what we need. We need people. And again, this comes down to, and I know we're going to do a video on this. This comes down to communication from the football club once again. And I know, listen, Rafa Benitez come out after the game on Saturday and said he was injured. You know, we knew he wasn't injured. We knew where he was. And why not just be open about it? Why not just say? Why does it have to? Why do you treat the fans like mugs? Why does Marcel Brands only do the occasional interview, and when he does reveal anything, he does it with Dutch newspapers? Why are we always left in the dark?
Where's Macheri?
Listen, I'm not saying, like I've always said, I'm not saying you unfold your grand plans out to the fans. But you know what's funny is, Some clubs are starting to do that now. Some clubs are getting very savvy and understand that the space will be filled. And so why don't you fill it? Villa did it. Arsenal did it. Why not come out and
Newcastle
just be...
did it.
Yeah, why not just come out and be very open?
I don't, people have asked me this on Twitter, like having a discussion, and some people seem quite happy with the way things are with the club, not telling you anything. That's fine. Each to their own. But we're not saying, or I'm certainly not saying when I say I want to hear from Marcel Brands or Mashiri, that you have to come out and tell every little thing you're doing. But there always has to be a roadmap. Yeah. Always. There always has to be something. You're trying to take the fans down a certain route. It's our club. They own it. He owns it, Mashiri. Yeah. Fine. But it's our football club. And we've been here before him, and we'll be here after him. Yeah. And yet, we're not told anything about it. We're you know, we look at Arsenal fans, and they stamp the feet and all of that stuff. But they've at least had success. Even recently, they've won like 2 or 3 FA Cups in the last 10 years. Whatever. They've played in Europe and all this, and yet they talk like they haven't had won a trophy in 100 years. And yet we have had nothing, literally nothing for 26 years. And we're still, we're not told anything. We're all trying to buy in. 3,000 people went to QPR last night in a game they knew there'd be half a team on.
One of Everton's biggest issues at the moment is fans arguing over getting away tickets. What does that tell you about our fan base? Our fan base is ravenous.
I put the thing out. Our fans
it's stupid and
the
it's best
thing about the football club by a mile. They're the best thing, and no one else, no other part of the football club gets near the fans. Everything in the community is something they bring out, and it's fabulous what it does, but it's not the football club. No. And therefore, the football club's lacking. Now, like I've said before, I don't expect every aspect of whatever they're doing to be discussed, but I do expect regular updates of where we're going and what we want to do. Are people at the football club as hungry as we are as fans to see Everton at the top? I'm not saying Everton can win the league, but that should be the aim. That aim should be, we want to build something that can challenge for the Premier League title and get in the Champions League. That should be the aim. And therefore, every bit of energy should be put in trying to achieve that. And if you come up short, you're still getting in Europe. You're still a better team. You're still a better club. And yeah, I just see...
It's conditioning now, isn't it? It's conditioning.
It's dumbing down, yeah.
It's conditioning over many years of, well, this is what you should expect. No one's sitting here saying you can win the league or whatever.
No.
Like you just said, well, why not aim for it? And that means cutting every... Funny enough, we said it after the... said on the Aston Villa final word about, like, set piece... excuse me. Set piece coaches and things like that. It's about finding every little thing.
Bless you twice. He hasn't got COVID. He's had COVID.
I haven't. I've just literally got me negative there.
Got a cold. Remember them?
Apparently, I'm being unprofessional as well by doing shows sick.
Who said this?
Someone said that to me. I'm being unprofessional because we've got loads of staff.
Yeah.
In fact, we lose one next week.
Well, someone else should have been in today, which would have meant Ped could have done less.
Who?
Someone who I've just noticed doing his own live stream.
Cam, you little blurt. I could be at home in bed and not sneezing.
Cam, he doesn't really mean it.
I fucking do. No, listen. I'll get into the comments in a minute, but the thing about James Rodriguez leaving, it's a marker of what the club is. It's a marker. It's the same with Eto. It's the same when Rooney left the second time. It's not having any idea what to do with these world stars off the pitch. So what's the point in having them on the pitch? And I know people go, well, it's the footballers and stuff like that, but it's not the way football works now. You have a commodity, you've got to use it. We said it from the start.
Yeah. I think what we need to do now is just maybe move away from these type of players.
We have to.
Money-wise, I mean, not move away from trying to buy that quality, because that's the quality.
Do you know what we have to do, Baz? And this is absolutely what we have to do. We have to make our own stars that we love, and not go out, look for players that are already established elsewhere and we think are going to somehow bring fans to us. I think that experiment is dead, because you can bring people to your club and they can be successful and they can bring fans with them. But we forget that successful part because we don't back it up with anything.
No.
So what we might as well do, right, is have someone like a Tim Cahill or a Landon Donovan type, or a Tim Howard, where we bring someone in who just ends up being an absolute hero to a generation, like Tim Cahill is. Absolute hero, who we still don't do enough with. Let's be honest, he's a massive hero, still massive in Australia, and we don't tie him down to anything at Everton Football Club. You know, he's supposed to be this international ambassador. He's an ambassador for himself. Everton don't use him like they don't use Tim Howard enough. I know they're using him more now, and I'd be grabbing all the Landon Donovan and going, do you want a job with us, mate? Because we'll look after you and we'll get you out there. But we don't. So why do we expect these people to do it when when they're with us?
Strategy.
We haven't got to, did we, like, when we bought Hammers in, we remember that night and we were like, the club were like, we're going to do these unveilings, Bogota and Miami and New York, and it's going to be huge. That's amazing. That was an amazing night. I went into Liverpool City Centre. There was a big, massive thing on the screen.
Yeah.
I went up to Goodison. There was something up there as well. Fantastic. It was probably the biggest signing we'd ever made in terms of, exposure.
Yeah.
And how did we back it up? We didn't. And I know COVID hit, and I appreciate COVID hit. We were already in the midst of COVID, sorry. But how did we back it up? Well, we simply didn't. We simply did not back it up. He was talking of we were going to do this and we were going to do that. And I understand Carlo Ancelotti left the club. Yeah. But we simply didn't back it up. Like, we were talking about it, saying, why aren't Everton getting into Colombia right now with, like, T-shirts? With, the number one thing, you should have given the number 10 shirt straight away. She said, thank you very much, person we cannot name. Thank you for your shirt.
No, we can name them. But they should have put Sigurdsson on a different number and gone, sorry.
We're taking it off, yeah.
We're doing this.
We're doing this because it's part of the strategy for the club and this guy is important. Then whack it on the back of a load of T-shirts, send them all over to Colombia and just give them away.
And he could have said to Sigurdsson, you do it as like a big thing that you're giving up, like other players have done. Cavani done it with Ronaldo,
And ultimately, it's stuff like that where, let's be honest, right, and this is classic Everton. Everton absolutely love putting the tip in. They love it, but they'll never go balls deep.
Well, until they get a new owner, and I'm not doing that. Or the owner goes, no, actually, I want someone to actually properly drive the football club, and that means asking questions of every single member. This is what I'm saying. That fans are fanatical for our football club. Go up and down. Seeing someone's coach was broken down. It's a way for a replacement coach. Asleep on the curb, like the pavement. You know what I mean? They've gone to a bloody League Cup game on a Tuesday night. But we've done it for years. We've done it up and down the country forever and ever and ever, and we haven't done anything with it.
We never do, because we have mediocre people, or people who are not.
I think we've got good people who aren't allowed.
Energised. They're not energised enough.
Or allowed to
go. Do you know what? Because I think this is one of Everton's biggest problems. And listen.
Ned, take that final word thing off the filler one, mate, please.
Don't get me wrong. We're not sitting here going, like, the world's all terrible because we've got rid of James Rodriguez. We've got rid of James Rodriguez and we're just sorting through it. But it is, there's a thing at the club where it's like, we have some people, there's this thing, Everton have a load of grand ideas. Of course they do. We all sit round and have big ideas. We all do. We do it here every day. It's whether you follow through with them.
Some you can do, some you
Ideas are only as good as whether you follow through. Now we'll sit round here and go, God, you know what? We would love to have the ability to go and do that idea. Because it would be amazing. But we can't do it. But wouldn't it be boss if someone could? And Everton as a football club have got the power to do these things, but choose not to. Because it's not right, or it's not a right fit for the club, or someone up there says it, but someone up there doesn't agree with them, and it never gets to that other fella. And that's the top and bottom of Everton. They have all these lovely grand ideas, and they never follow through with them, and that's the problem. That is the problem.
You need someone driving the football.
You do. Club. You need someone who actually has got the power to go, this is what we're going to do. So what you just said there, we have fanatical We have fanatical fans. To be an Everton fan, you have to be... Someone asked us a question today on our Patreon saying... Our Patreon live show saying... Are Everton fans from around the world true Evertonians? Well, the answer is yes. Because you have to be stupid to be an Evertonian. You have to be fanatically stupid. You have to get up in the middle of the night or whatever and watch us. And we know they've got passion because you have to have the passion. There's nothing else to be here for. There's no success. There's no success. Nick's sending us videos. Nick's always, I'm always chatting to Nick. I've got 3 or 4 there that I'm always chatting with them in a group, overseas Evertonians. And I'm talking to every day. Fanatical Evertonians. But what do we give them? We went to America this summer, first time in a while. But what are we giving them? What are we doing for them? How are we making them part of it? We've gotten all the talk about the shirts and all that, and it's going to be better and all that. Well, when's it going to be better? Why hasn't it been better from the start?
The football side, though, for me.
No, I know, but I do feel like it's all one big thing. I think like it's all one big thing. Because like you just said there, if you haven't got the person at the top who wants to say, listen, we've got people at our club who are boss are coming out going, I know the other clubs want to be like us. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Who wants to be like us? We are half-arse merchants. Who wants to be like us? If we didn't have a big shiny stadium getting built, our club at the moment would just look like an absolute
shambles,
shit show. And I just feel like we need someone at the top of the club who people, number one, don't laugh at and take seriously. Because I just don't think people take me seriously. I just don't know. And that's what we need. We need people to start looking at our club going, that person means what they say. And they go out and prove it. So when we come out and go, this is terrible, those clubs are all trying to get off and we're going to do something about it. Well, what did you do about it? You did nothing.
No.
You went full Conor McGregor and you did nothing. And
give a nice little statement.
You give a nice little speech, you puffed your chest out, you said we're the best of the rest, and you did nothing. And that is Everton Football Club in an absolute nutshell.
Okay. Liam says, Hammer's gone, surely you can do a little something in the January market, right back at least. Everton Girl says, lads-wise, Benitez getting blamed. He put a good enough team to win. As for Brand said a few weeks ago, he needs the boot for not signing a right back. And let me just qualify as well, just very quickly here, that this is not in response to Everton going out the Carabao Cup, by the way. It's just a thing of just in general what we're doing as a football club. Obviously the James Rodriguez news was broke today, and that's quite different. Obviously it's gone now, and it's a bit, people are disappointed, people are sad, and all of that stuff. But when it's highlighted, you have to examine it, don't you?
Yeah, of course you
have to examine the whole thing. You have to look at the squad and go, we're making changes because we got injuries. These players aren't good enough. It's not just that. There's no right back. We're worried about this. We had in the summer, the start of the summer, we were going, we're sound at left back. We've got Luca Dean, we've got Niels Nkunku, and we've got Thierry Small. Yeah. Well, Luca Dean, we don't know if he's fit. Hopefully he's going to be fit for Saturday. Niels Nkunku's playing for Standard Liège on loan, and Thierry Small's gone to Southampton. So we went from having 3 to having 1. And all of that. And there might have been a plan behind that, and that's fine. And Everton have looked at it and got Delph, and who's out now for weeks, and everything else. But it's just all of it. And like I said before, I don't need someone to come out and go, right, we're telling you everything that went on this summer. We had 28 players lined up. We don't need any of that. But we just need a roadmap that we all follow. And if we do that, and we go, well, you know what? Marcel Brands has come out and said, this is what we tried to do. You go, okay, that's fine. That's what we tried to do. We'll look at it again or whatever. Then you get Mashiri to come on and go, look, my commitments here. You can see the stadium. I still want Everton to be the best. We're still going to make money available for Rafa Benitez, blah, 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 whatever it may be. Just to give us that thing of, look, we're all moving on the same thing. Whereas it just seems silent. Since Ancelotti went, it's kind of been silent. There was a little bit on TalkSport from Mashiri.
I think there's a level of embarrassment at the football club after Carlo Ancelotti left. We puffed out our chest, we brought this fella in and he's walked out on us, and I think there's radio silence for a reason. Okay. The radio silence stems from going and bringing Rafa Benitez in. I know was just saying, well, we can't say anything.
But I think you have to.
No, I know, you do.
You have to. I think even if...
And to be fair...
You know what, I might sub you in a minute. I might get you over there and put Ned on this couch.
You honestly
because you look like you're getting worse.
The thing about it is, though, what's mad is, and this is the funny thing, Rafa Benitez is quite happy to speak and do interviews and do bits and pieces.
But do you think, whether you like him or not, right, whether you think he's the right man or the wrong man, do you think it's not a little bit unfair that he's the one that has to front everything up? People ask him and he has to answer all the questions. And he might go, you know what, I'll do it. I'll answer it because I'm a big, I'm ugly enough and I've been around enough and I can take it and I can deal with the press. But I just feel like if the three of them had something to say on the matter of where we're going, and it was something from Benitez, something from Brands, something from Mashiri, then at least you turn around and go, you know what, that's where we are, that's where we're going.
Where do you stand on the element of being honest in football? As in, because I know you've said about coming out and speaking, but where do you stand on, like, if Everton had said to this season, beginning this season, once the window had shut up, like, so your business is done. Yeah. If Everton had come out and gone, right, I know, because they keep on saying, and Rafa's said this loads of times, FFP is killing us. So he said it. So, do you think they should come out and go, this year we've cut our cloth accordingly? FFP is killing us. But if we go through the rest of this season and, we finish where we think we can finish, then next summer we can start to try and build the squad up again, because there'll be finances there, people will be leaving, and with 2 years before we move into a new stadium, we're actually in a good place because of what's happened in FFP. Do you think that's a level of honesty that which is acceptable, which the club, doesn't embarrass anyone at the club, but also as a fan we all live in we're all pretty, not savvy, we all live in a digital space now where we know exactly what's going on all the time. Last night we've got people telling us where James Rodriguez is at every minute. We know that's the way it is now. People are making their living off rumours and speculation and agents ringing them and all the rest of it. Would you think that level of honesty you can do now?
Well, why wouldn't you be honest? You don't have, again, you don't have to reveal everything. Yeah. To have an open line of communication. And this is what I'm talking about. There's nothing wrong with Everton Football Club, someone coming out and saying, look, this summer, because we've made mistakes in the past, there's nothing wrong with saying that. We've spent a lot of money in the past and we've got it wrong. You're holding your hand up, right? And it meant this summer, when we'd done all the sums, we couldn't spend any money. We had nowhere to go because of the regulations. And we had to make a decision. And this was it. We had not a lot of money. We were hoping, a couple of deals might fall into place, and that would have given us more freedom to buy players in that we wanted. We couldn't do it. This is where we are. And like you just said, we've moved players on, we've reduced the wage bill, and we hope that we can move forward from now on. What's wrong with saying that? What's wrong with telling the fans that that's the situation?
If you were sitting here right now, and Marcel Brands was sitting here, and you were interviewing him, and you could ask him something respectfully, what would you ask him?
I'd ask him why we haven't bought a right back.
Just that one thing?
No, there'd be a few. What I would say to Marcel Brands is, since you've took over, right? Yeah. Has your view of what type of player is needed for the Premier League changed? Because from a fan's perspective and someone who's watched football for 40 odd years, the Premier League is about power and pace. So have you, as the player you thought Everton needed when you come in, to now changed? So is he learning? Like, that's the first one. Secondly, about the right back situation, what's the thought process behind the right back? And he might say, look, we thought we wanted to give one of our own the opportunity to develop in John Joe Kenny. We thought that him going on loan to Schalke, we had a look at Sidderby, whatever. Or he might turn around and go, we've had 3 or 4 deals for right backs lined up. but it's never got there because we weren't cash ready or whatever it may be. It's difficult. I wouldn't want to make him uncomfortable and go, you're crap at your job.
Why wouldn't you want to make him uncomfortable?
Because I wouldn't say he's crap at his job because I don't know.
You wouldn't have to say he's uncomfortable, but
I would say.
But again, this is a level
I would like to say to him, no, us as a fan base or a lot of fans we speak to feel like Everton should have bought a right back. We've seen this issue happening, and here we are, 3 years or 2 years after we brought Jibril Sidibe in on loan. We still haven't bought a right back. Why?
No, because the thing about it is, though, you just said it yourself there. These people. There's scrutiny on them, but it never gets to them in a way of like, I don't know. Maybe they have to do quarterly meetings where they have to performance evaluate and all that. But he's a director at the football club. So who does he evaluate? Is it Micheli? Then he's bad at back. I don't know, but these people seem to me to get away with murder. Because all we ever talk about is Marcel Brands, David Unsworth, whichever manager is the manager that month.
Yeah.
And these people, there's never any scrutiny put on them. Ever. Like, I seen the Echo yesterday, there was a piece on there, we get to the bottom of why Thierry Small left. It's a paragraph from Unsworth saying, did everything we could to keep him, but, he left. That's not getting to the bottom of why he left. That's not getting to the bottom. And that's not don't get me wrong, that's not the Echo's fault. That's the problem is you click on that link and that's what you get. Is that journalism now? Is that what we do now? Is that we go, why did you leave? Oh, well, we tried to do everything we could. No, where's the level of scrutiny? Why did Thierry Small leave Everton Football Club? Is he a little so-and-so? Has he got high aspirations? We just brought a kid in from Sunderland, and it sounds like to me we did exactly the same, or that kid did exactly the same to them, that Thierry Small. Just say that. Like, there's too much of this, like, putting a glam around you to make it look like everything's amazing when it's truly not. Our youth, our academy is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Liverpool have got young players coming out their arses that he can sell for 8 to 10 million at a time. We've got nobody. We're playing a youngster in John Joe Kenny who should have already played 250 games for someone by now. Youngster, John Joe Kenny. It bewilders me the level of scrutiny that these people just tend to get away with. And I know people will probably throw it at us and say, well, you don't. But we do, for a start. But it's hard when you're not given the opportunity also to question these people. Or they don't question themselves. Or no one at the club seems to question them. Like, if you walked into a meeting, let's say, like the shareholders meeting, and you stood, we've seen it. People stand up and they go, we've seen it. Someone said, why are you on the board? Someone said it to Brands. I do not accept his nomination to the board. And the people on the stage were just like, you can't say that. Well, he can, because he's a shareholder, and that's what the meeting's for. And it was sort of like laughed at, and it was just like, and I'm not saying anything about Brands, but there was a level of like, who are you? Sit down. You don't tell us what to do. Whereas I think like that should be a discussion point where, come out, like I'm here all day with Marcel Brands, I've said before, I haven't got a clue what he does.
No, that's the problem.
So it's very hard to put your finger on. And this is what I've said quite a lot recently. It's like, we need to get out of our own way and say, like, last week, Townsend and Gray were Rafa Benitez signings. This week, no doubt, there'll probably be Marcel Brands signings because people are always looking for someone to point the finger at when it suits them.
But a lot of it's because there's no communication.
Exactly.
We don't know who does what.
Exactly.
We don't know Marcel Brands does he direct football or doesn't he? If he's the academy director and he's sorting that out, brilliant. Make that split then.
Come out and tell us.
Just come out and say Marcel Brands is in charge of all the academy stuff and sorting whatever out. But Rafa Benitez is and his staff are in charge of 13 matters. Then we'll know.
Come out and say, off the back of signing this kid, this is the first of a new wave of young players that are coming to the club. This is the reason why we've had the chat, we've had a ban and all the rest of it. We're changing things up. We're going for a younger clientele. In 18 months to 2 years, we hope to do this, 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 and this. Tell us. The great are going, They're great at saying, oh yeah, we have changed the academy and we're having a younger team this year, but why are you doing it? Why? Because the last lot failed and it left a gaping hole in that academy. It left a massive hole because those lads who were all brought in under Walsh blocked the path. You give them all big contracts. You couldn't shift them because no one wanted terribly average footballers. So they've all gone on free transfers after their deals are finished. And they blocked the path of the next lot. And now we've got to go 2 years younger for kids who are probably not going to make it for another 2 years, meaning that because there's a massive gap now where there's no one really coming through past Anthony Gordon. Who did that fall under? Has Brands restructured to change that? Or is he part of that? You know, puff out your chest and come out and go, no, mate, I've sorted this. I've sorted it. In 2 years, you'll see the fruits of my labour. But come out and tell us. Because at the moment, it does feel, and I know it's that easy to do this, when you've just been beaten and stuff and you've just lost a player. But it's still that word, and it's honestly the word I hear all the time. Good, bad, whatever, communication. The club talking to the fans. The lifeblood. And you know what? These fans deserve it. These fans deserve to be spoken to. These fans deserve to understand what the path is for the club.
It is. I mean, people are saying ask for an interview with Brands. We've asked many times for an interview.
We don't fit the clientele because we're just, we're just a little small team who are professionally here every single day that focuses squarely on Everton Football Club, unlike other people who do, other clubs or have various clubs.
But it's not. The thing about it is, we'd love to sit down with Brands, but there's nothing that the club can't do themselves.
No.
If they had any desire to do it, he should have a desire to do it. But it's not just Marcel Brands, by the way. It's all of it. It's all of the thing. It's just frustrating. I think it's frustrating. It's frustrating because I seen last night. I looked around at a few of the teams we were playing. Like Man City had like 5 top players playing with 5 kids I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
And they won 6-1. And okay, all the goal scorers by the last one with first team, De Bruyne and Foden and people like that. But they had the kid at left back, 18, who looked brilliant. Now, okay, it's Man City and it's easy to, when you're at top, it's easy to attract.
And the system has changed to bringing kids in.
And doing all that, right? Brilliant. But Everton people have said to me today on Twitter, like a couple of people, is there anyone we can put in now from the 23s you can help? And it's like, I don't think there's anybody at the moment who is ready. Like Tyrone Yango isn't fit. He was one who could come in and help, but he's a centre mid, which is fine, and he's physically ready. I don't know whether he's ready, but he's not ready to play in the Premier League. He might be a bit fine. Ellis Sims has just come back from injury. He's played in the League One and scored 10 goals. Yeah. I don't know whether he's good enough to play in the Premier League, but he might be able to help for 15 minutes or so in a game, just because he's a big lad and he can... but it's not like we've got 3 or 4 in the academy. You can go, they can be playing tonight and they should be getting a chance. Terry Small, the irony of it is, he'd have probably played a few 13 games so far this season. That's the irony of it. Bench, and we'd have had a look at him. But after that, others are just like Lewis Dobbin, who was doing really well, then had like a 5.5-month injury in his development. And
got injured on Monday night.
Did he? Well, there you go. So straight away, he's already behind in his development. So the next big one's like Reece Welsh, but we've had Isaac Price and we've had Warrington, who've been involved training and all that, but then have got injured. So it's not like there's 2 or 3.
You only have to look at Anthony Gordon to see what the level is. Andy Gordon was, head and shoulders in the 23s. And
Tom Davies was.
And he's been with the first team for a year, Anthony Gordon. Months, and he's still physically massively away from it. And of course we had injuries and stuff, and
it's not all on that. What you want to see, or what I want to see, and people might have different views, is a path. Is like not just talking about pathway. It's easy to say that a pathway into the team. Well, depends what your team's doing, and it depends how good you are. You can't just. I don't want Everton to just become this development club that gives players a pathway to make them better players. Then they go off when as Martinez like to have a finishing school almost for then you sell them off. But you want those players to develop to be good enough to play in your team. But I want to see the whole club moving in the same direction. I just don't feel like it is at the moment. feels just a little bit like a bit of a mess. But it can be a recovery period if there's communication. If we're told it's a recovery period, if we're told that, look, it is about getting our finances in line by doing this, by doing that. I just think the communication isn't very good from the football club. Look, take the stadium, right? The way they've dealt with the stadium has been brilliant, really. Everything they've kind of done, they've hit all the markers, they've been very open with it, they've been very thorough with it, it's been relayed really well, and they're down there doing it now, it's getting built. Right, really good communication, really, really good. It shows they can do it, but there's no desire to do other bits of the communication. There's no desire to speak to us about the way the team's going. There's been no desire, like commercially. Where are we commercially? If it's difficult, if it's really, really tough to be able to get these big deals for Everton Football Club, get someone to come on and tell us why it's really tough then. Get a commercial person, whether it's Alan McTavish or any, whether it's Denise Barrett-Baxendale, if that's who it has to be, the CEO, to come on and just give a little 10-minute thing. Go, look, we want to be up there with Liverpool, United and all that. It's difficult because of this, and what we need to do is that, and this is our goal to get there. Just give us the roadmap so we can all go. So when we're having this, people can come on and go, lads, they did an interview last week and here's what they said this and this. Or remember when that was said, this happens or whatever. But it's everything's just like when they want to say something about the community, they're there. Or when they want to tell you how great it is to buy this currency, there's a lot on that. But there's nothing on what is actual real. Let's be honest about it. Cut away all of the stuff, right? Cut away all of the things about global reach. Cut away all of the things about we should have had a shop in America with hammers and all. The only thing that matters is what's on the football pitch. That's what we go to match for. I don't go to Goodison because we're the greatest commercial team in the world or we've got Boss Pies on sale. I go to watch the football team. The football team either makes me incredibly happy or gives me a cob on what happens on the pitch. And you get up feeling like you've got a hangover when you haven't had a bevy when they've lost. And you have that little feeling in you. It's emotions. So that realistically is the only thing that matters. Everything else is huge, but the thing that really matters is the team on the pitch. And everything should be funneled into making that as good as it can be. And that's everything. Now, if that means you have to be the best commercial people to create money to give it to them, that's what you need to do. And I just feel like, and this could be wrong, but we don't know. I just feel like it seems, anyway, that there's just too many people at that football club who it's just easy-osy with. It's just like, oh, well, we can't do that because of this. And it might be because the people above them are telling them that. There might be people in there, but we know there's good people there. We know there's people in there with ideas who get quashed. So why are they getting quashed? Why aren't you getting people in a room? And it might happen, but no one tells us. Going, what are your good ideas? Oh, my God, let's do that, let's do that, let's do that.
Buy a microphone. That's the number one idea.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, we're talking about communication. They don't even have microphones.
Yeah. Jamie Carroll said, didn't people talk to brands of Finch Farm a couple of years ago? The Finch Farm 10. What can you do? What can you do? People saying the Everton board needs to be accountable. Astro says, if you could wave a magic wand and fix one of the many problems at Everton, the squad, the academy, the culture of the club, communication issues, leadership at the top, which one would you pick?
If I could, sorry, say that again.
If you could fix one, wave a wand and it fixes one problem at Everton, which would it be? Squad, academy, culture of the club, communication issues, or leadership?
Leadership, because I actually think if you solved the leadership, it would work for everything.
Okay. Carl says, hello lads, hope all is well. Crap that last night, proper frustrated by it but not shocked. Do you think with after a result like that, some players, what's your reactions to think of what people think of the team, or do you think they're not asked?
No, they're not. Not that they're not asked.
To be honest, I
wouldn't
watch it anyway, even if they knew. Would you, if you were a player and you got beat? Why would you? Because you don't need. They should know themselves, because they'll critique themselves. I just think that. I think you've always got a problem when you make that many when there's that many players who aren't in your team coming into a team. They're all not at the level. They're not playing every week, so they're not at the same level. If you're a good squad, basically your players are at that level anyway, are a good team. We're not that good, are we? That's the disappointing.
No.
Jake says this club treats us like mugs. They don't deserve the 3,000 sold out away end last night. Treading the same ground every week on this. There's too little communication from the club and it's embarrassingly bad and annoys me. Paul Callow says, evening gents, I'm celebrating my 15th wedding anniversary tomorrow. Congratulations, mate. I've got a spa day staycation planned, but wondered if you have any thoughts on what excuse I can use to tune in tomorrow's live at 5 without upsetting the missus. I don't know, you're having a break from the day. You're just having a bit of you time for an hour. Maybe. But if you can't come up with one, you're just going to have to bite the bullet and miss it, Paul. For your missus. But 15 years, I guess you've both given, and there's been a bit of give and take in your marriage, and you're doing well, you communicate well, you're a good little team. Just say to her, you should be able to be honest with her and just say, I want to watch live at 5 for an hour. That's it. And then we'll carry on.
Listen, love.
We'll carry on doing what we're doing.
These lads are more important than you.
I don't know whether you have to say that, to be honest, but, you know, let's be honest. Jake says here, let's be honest, every Evertonian knew Tom Davies was going to miss. Time to let these lads go, Evertonians or not. Kenny, Davies, Gordon, simply not good enough. The fact they're still pulling on a shirt years down the line is damning of the show at our club. Brands, there's a lot to answer for. I think Gordon's still got half a chance. I think he done all right last night. I think if he can develop physically a bit more, he's only 19, 20. The other two, yeah, they're a bit older and it seems to have moved away from that. Cal says Brentford away on the Sunday now and then Liverpool at home on the Tuesday. Yo,
makes sense, though.
Game's being moved.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sure Liverpool would have settled for that.
Not like Everton to self-sabotage himself, is it?
No. Lee Ties Dar says, goodbye, James Rodriguez FC fans, you will not be missed.
Missed on our subs.
Okay. Mathew Lamps. AJ says, Ned, also, I loved your impression of what Baz does when he gets one of the songs. I mean, I didn't see it, AJ, because I had other things, but... Do
you want to see my impression of one?
No, really. Not really. Not interested, mate. Because you call yourself a musician and never get the song, so... Finn says, I feel like the owner has employed a bunch of yes men. It's never going to work. I don't know. Jake says the social experiment continues. Lads, yeah, it is a social experiment, isn't it? That's how it feels.
Very much so. Matrix.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just frustrating, isn't it? It's frustrating. David Taylor, no, he hasn't got COVID. He's had 2 negative tests in the last couple of days. He's got a cold.
Yeah, I've got a cold.
You're
not allowed to have a cold anymore?
No, you can't. Not allowed. He wouldn't be anywhere near in this place, mate, if he'd had it. And trust me, if he could have got away with being in bed today, he would have stayed in bed.
Yeah, definitely.
Jamie Carroll says Everton are too sentimental, and we all know whose fault that is.
Yes, we do.
Yep. I mean, what do people, just people in the comments here, have we got it wrong with the communication in terms of what we want, what we'd like from the club? Just dead quick. Just answer yes or no. If you think that we're asking too much for there to be better communication from the club. I don't need Brands to sit here and give me the list of players who he wants Everton to sign. But just like a little bit of a skeleton guide of what the pathway is, and then one from Mashiri, and maybe even one from the CEO or whatever. But if we got that wrong, if I got it wrong in expecting that or hoping that happens, and should we as fan base just shut up and get on with it? I don't know. I mean, I feel like we deserve to know, but I don't know. Other people might think it's totally different. They might think, what, you're asking too much. Some on Twitter said to me before that, why should Marcel Brands talk to the fans? Why should Mashiri tell us what they're doing? So they're obviously happy with it. Michael James says, yes, we don't want this. We don't need, basically, they don't need to tell us anything. So Michael obviously delighted with the way everything's going.
Yeah.
That's fine, no problem with that. Dark Arts, Albie, Kevin McKenna, Don, Robbio, Wormy Spoons, all agree with us. Where are we? David Taylor says, no communication in my 50 years plus supporting them. Michael James, you're getting pinned, right. Where are we? Communication is wrong. Communication is wrong, says Michael. No, I think he's just winding up now. Basic Trig says, no, 2021. Finn says, my rugby club, Saints, are so much better than Everton. Communication. Brian Farrell says, how many clubs do communicate with the fans?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't
but
matter.
I think some clubs do, though.
Yeah, they do, but that doesn't matter. We live in an age now where, you know, it is all about communication. We live in a digital world full of communication, 24 hours. Someone else will fill the narrative for you.
I think Brian's, I mean, he's asked the right, he's asked the good question. Who does it, though? Who does communicate? Well, what I would say is Villa communicated over the sale of Grealish. And people might say, well, that was a specific situation. Fine. Spurs communicated over, it wasn't about Kane, it was about how they were going to do their business from now on when they got Pat Thingy in. Newcastle communicated over their transfer window. Arsenal communicated over their transfer window.
Do you know?
But I'm just talking about just in general. And why can't Everton be the leaders in this?
Right. This is, do you know what I find funny about football fans?
Hang on a second, sorry. And Liverpool did it under Peter Moore every few months. But go on, carry on.
Do you know what I find really funny about some football fans is how they don't appreciate the importance of the football fans. Like, what would football be if there was no fans? What would be the point? If football fans just said, well, we're not going anymore, we're not watching anymore, then what's
there wouldn't be any point
what's
in the
the point?
football club.
There's no point, is there? There's no point. We've seen that last year, simply by the money likes of Everton lost. So, what, you know, why don't we have, I do see this now and again, and it's mostly like, it can be used as a stick to beat the likes of us with. When people go, why should the football club tell you anything? Because they'd be absolutely nothing without us. Not any football club. And you know what, they can go, you know what, if they didn't have you, they'd have someone else, whether it be like Man United. What if Man United or Liverpool, all their fans just decided, no, we're not going to put up with this anymore. We want answers to this or to that. You know, we've seen it with the Super League. The clubs started turning around when they seen the fans turn on them. Whether it's PR or whatever, the fans are the lifeblood of your football club. And it doesn't matter if you're getting money in from this sponsor or that sponsor. We've seen it. What if all the fans said, until you start giving us an idea of what's going on, we're not buying shirts or we're not buying from that sponsor anymore and we're going to force that sponsor. Fans are the most important thing about a football club. And yet they're the last to know what's going on what the direction.
Like I said,
and the club, you said it before, the club have been so on the nose about everything to do with the stadium, every step of the way, keeping the fans going, knowing, launched the podcast last week for the stadium. This is what happened, that's what happened. Yeah. And yet they treat football fans like it's the magic circle. We can't tell you that. That's a trade secret. Like, we all know what goes on.
Like I said, I'm not asking for the ins and outs of everything, but I'm asking for a roadmap. And I'm asking really for communication from Mashiri as well, to just say, yeah, I am. It is my burning desire to make Everton a top club.
Do you think Everton should come out should have the bottle to come out today and say why they sold James Rodriguez?
Well, I don't know, because it depends what they want to spin.
No, forget about spin.
No, but that comes down to it. The manager.
The whole of Everton Twitter now, or the whole of Everton social media, or all the people watching, are split now. Over whether getting rid of James Rodriguez was right or wrong. Yeah. No matter what thing you're in, it creates an emotion. Yeah. Because it's like, why have you got rid of him? He's amazing. Or we had to get rid of him because he was taking money off us. I honestly think if Everton sat down today, Marcel Brands, don't put it on the manager. Marcel Brands just come in and went 10 minutes, 5-minute interview. Well, we got rid of James Rodriguez because the manager felt like he wasn't a cornerstone of the team.
You put him on the manager then.
So what? That's what the manager's already said that. And then an offer came in which was going to save us 8 million. He's not going to save how much.
Yeah.
X amount of money.
Good amount of money.
A large amount of money, which will help with our FFP to go and buy players we need. So done. Why is that? No, but why is that? Why are people so afraid of that? Why are football clubs so afraid of it? I don't understand that. What you're doing is, you are, like Saturday, before the game, why isn't James Rodriguez playing? Well, disgusting. Manager's a joke. Manager's this, manager's that, manager's the other. After the game, manager comes out, injured. He wasn't injured, but the manager was just putting a... So number one, the manager could have said, he's negotiating to go somewhere else, if he really wanted to, but someone at the club would have said, don't, just in case it falls through. Plausible deniability. Then you get people going, we know he's not, he's leaving, what are you lying for? It's like, can't win. So you might as well just be honest. And don't get me wrong, they don't have to be honest with everything.
They might turn out and say, we can't win, so we may as well say nothing. That's probably...
But then they're always going to lose.
No, but I'm saying that's what they will say.
But they're always going to lose. Then there's no point. Don't have any communication or anything then.
Well, that's what they're doing.
But that's what I'm saying. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I mean, most people agree with us, but some people are saying, why should they tell you?
Because we're fucking fans. Because we are the people who put the money into the club. We are though, Baz. It proves it.
No, we do, but we
if we showed it last year. No fans in the ground. Only maybe 6 or 7 of the teams in the Premier League managed to make money. But if you haven't got fans, people will walk away. If there's no need to go, you can't push the other stuff. You can't push all the sponsors. Sponsors are turn around and go, well, what are we having this for? What are we having that for? It doesn't work for clubs like Everton. We aren't one of these superpowers you can rely on money just flowing in when it wants. We haven't even got a shirt sleeve sponsor. It needs some kind of adjustment.
Ginello says, would you lads take another 59-point finish? Yeah, because I think 59 points would put us close to Europe again. I think you'd have to say yes at the moment. Haley says, I just want the things to be right on the pitch. Yeah, fair dues, fair enough. If people aren't that bothered, then sound. Kevin McKenna says, Ped's spot on. There you go. Over on Peyton, let's have a little look here.
Moise Keane just scored for Juventus.
Did he? Not an own goal this time, no?
No.
Astro says, no, you guys are spot on. Paz Mystery says, is Shank Tosin back in training and give him some Red Bull and get him on the pitch? Side Jukebox says, no, Baz, I totally agree with both of you. It's embarrassing, this club clueless. It needs a shake-up at the top, a proper CEO and a new chairman. Adam says, I'm not happy that they don't talk to us, but at the same time, they don't have to answer to me. Yeah, Gary says, I think it's a completely reasonable request. Adam says, true, the club is nothing without the fans, but they also know we're not just going to stop going over a lack of communication. Michael Wood says, it'd be nice if the club just tell club members via an email or an interview video or something to know what aims for the next season or the next 3 months or something. Target for the league, ideas for the reserves, progression for the people at the top of the club, just something.
Let me just say, right,
come on.
I think people see this as a thing, right, that is a negative that the club would have to do without actually wanting to. This, if Everton, and we've said this for years, right, this PR is so important in everything nowadays. This can easily be done in a way that is positive. In fact, Everton could have meetings and interviews with brands where he doesn't reveal anything. He doesn't actually, but what he's doing is, he's keeping people sort of in the loop, but without keeping them in the loop, if that makes sense. Just so people, I think people, there's a negative way to spin this. Why should they tell us anything, right? But savvy football clubs will start realising by keeping fans on board in almost like, and making them feel like they're part of the decision-making process, which they're obviously not, that it can be used in a very clever way. You know, and this is what I don't get, is that, you know, when Apple launch a phone and stuff, and they have it in all, you know, and it's make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
You know, we spoke to John Plain about this, and he's like, why couldn't Everton have, when they have the shareholders meeting, make it like a 5-day event where you have workshops and fans go in and speak, and have like a little Everton expo where there's like fan events and managers and players, and there's different events and people are talking to each other. I'm not asking for that, but this shouldn't be seen as a negative. This shouldn't be someone like fanatics coming in and sharing their ideas of how they're going to grow Everton's brand. Shouldn't be seen as a negative, shouldn't be seen as a top secret. It should be embraced and saying, no, soon you're going to be able to buy shirts in this shop and that shop. Like, why? You know, it shouldn't be seen as a negative. It can be a positive. And that's what I'm saying. I don't feel like Everton I think Everton are like, oh my God, we can't do that. We're terrified of our fans. What will people say? And it's just like, no, just sit down and have an interview. Sit down and have a chat. And don't reveal loads. Just give us an idea of where we're all going as a football club. I think it's just good PR. It's just good PR. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Maybe they just feel like they don't need to do it, and that's if that's the way it is. That's the way it is. We can still say that we're interested in knowing, can't we? Just because they don't feel they need to, we can still say we'd like them to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. People don't need to. You know, if you don't really think they need it, that's fine. Everyone's got an opinion.
But do you think they don't think they need to do it, or do you think that they are worried about how it would be interpreted if they were just having...
But they could, like you've just said, they could speak and give us the bare bones without really telling us anything other than what deliverable messages are.
Like every
That's
3
what
months.
It is.
Marcel Brands does his quarterly interview.
I think he could just do one in summer, one at Christmas, and one in the summer.
But if you make it like it so it's not a big thing.
Yeah.
The quarterly interview, Marcel Brands, Marcel, how's it going? Blah blah. Yeah, well, in the summer, we tried to bring a right back in, didn't quite happen. Blah blah blah. We worked all the way tirelessly. Blah blah blah. We did manage to get in these players. They've been really good so far. We got rid of James Rodriguez. This will, it's worked. It's going to work out better for everybody, and we're going to use that money going forward. It's going to offset FFP, and we're going to do better at it. Blah blah blah. Sit down, make sure, see you again in 3 months. And it's always looking back, and what are we looking to do next? Well, looking to get more players out the academy this year. Blah blah. It's like that's good news. That's like, to me, that's positive. It's not going off. We missed out on that play. It was terrible. It's like, you make it positive. It doesn't have to be negative.
No,
and it can be positive.
You can set the narrative then.
Yeah,
people,
exactly.
And it also stops people asking questions.
Yeah.
Lynn Cook says Everton rely on us being committed, whatever. They are like a really crap boss who just expects you to carry on working without knowing why. They throw us the odd bit of sentiment every now and again. Gary Ward says, how much will we paying James not to play for Everton? Around 200 grand a week, mate. Dick L says, James Rodriguez has shown Everton zero respect. That player never cared for us or the club, so we owe him nothing. In the moment, James' transfer makes Everton look bad. Brand should come up in an interview and throw him under the bus. He gave us zero respect, and we owe him zero respect. I mean, I don't quite feel like that, Dick, but you're entitled to your opinion. I just feel a bit disappointed for him, for a player with that ability. He's still only 30. Didn't want to knuckle down fully. But everyone, each to their own, isn't it? He'll see it differently. he might say, well, the manager should have guaranteed me a place in this team. And that would have made me, you know what I mean? There'll be two sides to every story. So, there you go.
I do feel sorry for like younger Evertonians who, certainly with James Rodriguez, who have been, you know,
Bobby Joe, he was, end of.
Have not had an opportunity because these young kids have been starved of quality, and to see a player do what he did last season in some matches and the goals he scored, I feel a little bit sorry for myself, but more so young fans who have very little to shout about as an Evertonian. You know, certainly at the moment, there's not much you can shout about, and to have a player of that quality, a player that you could get, you know, on the back of your shirt and know that they were a genuinely world-class star, and you could probably go somewhere abroad and someone would understand who James Rodriguez is in that kind of bracket. I do feel sad for them because it's, you know, we get very little as Evertonians nowadays, and to see something get taken away, it's just...
I'd love them to have stayed and like got his head down and got in, and because he was brilliant. I wanted to see him. I'd love to be going to the match on Saturday and he's playing.
I know.
But it's not happened, has it? So there's no point in me sitting here.
No.
What's the point?
No.
You can't, don't forget, you can't kick someone out of a football club when they've got a contract if you don't want to go. His agent's been working to get him out the football club all summer.
No one wants it.
So
sad.
It's grim. It's grim. Sad. It's grim. So it's one of them, isn't it? It is what it is. But what can you do? A Swiss fan says James will play in the national team after having some minutes. Yeah, he will do because he'll play for them, and then.
But don't forget,
give him a chance to play.
Don't forget though, don't be putting this all on Everton. By the way, I've seen a few people go, it's terrible. This Colombian fans. It's like, hang on, Colombia dropped him for the Copa America because they didn't think he was fit. Whose fault was that? Carlo was playing him. Carlo was giving him as many. Carlo left him out the last 2 games of the season, so he could go back to Colombia to be fit, and Colombia dropped him. Journalists in Colombia have been scathing of James Rodriguez and his attitude and his fitness levels, and it wasn't nothing to do with Rafa Benitez. So you can knock that on the head as well. It was down to the player. I've seen loads of journalists from South American journalists saying it's his attitude.
Asprilla has destroyed him for a year, like literally destroyed him, and talks about him since he was at Bayern and Real. Has just destroyed him. I mean, I don't, half the stuff he was saying I hadn't even heard, but Asprilla was just ripping him, saying...
But the greatest player of a generation, and he's not played football enough.
It's disappointing because he's an unbelievable footballer.
He
really is. What can you do? What can we do? We've just got to get crack on, haven't we?
Aye.
He's gone now, so we've got to just hope that we get to see a player who is as good as him again.
I just want to see a team.
On.
I just want to see a team.
Yeah. I know, but it just would have been nice to see him, wouldn't it?
I know.
It'd been nice to see him like the way he was at the start of last season, with the crowd being in there and how good he was, like West Brom and them games. Like even the derby when he was clattered, he was still injured after it, but he was good in that, you know, the game and all that. But what can we do? We'll have to just move on, move forward. We've done it before. We've seen players like Wayne Rooney leave. You know, when he was amazing, like properly amazing. He was on the way up rather than the way down. We've seen him when he was on the way down, but he was still better than some of the players we had. So, Frank Miley says, James, nobody in Europe wanted him, and that tells me everything. Yeah, he was offered to everybody, but he is still a top quality footballer. Jenny Radcliffe says, we've just got to bite the bullet for a couple of years. Rafa can be trusted with this project. Stuart says, Baz, we want Europe, but it'll absolutely destroy us at the same time. I don't...
You'd have to buy players, wouldn't
But then what do we... So if that's the case, then, and that's how we're looking at it, are we then?
You have to grow exponentially with it.
What I was going to say though, if people are worried about Europe, then then we may as well just be 10th. So people may as well just be made up that we're mid-table.
You have to grow with it.
Yeah.
You have to grow with it. You have to. Listen, if we got Europe, I think. Well, the FFP shackles would come off, and you could go. We're going to make X amount of money off that. Therefore, we don't have to worry about FFP as much, and we'd buy players. What I want to see is, and this I can't wait, right? And this is when I think we'll truly know what's happening, right? When they go, don't have to worry about FFP now. You have not bought anyone, or you've got all the money back within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And then I want to see the type of play we go after.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Are they going to be like Ben Godfrey's? Are they going to be like the kid at Rangers? Are they going to be young, up-and-coming players with a mix of free transfers, the Mari Gray kind of players, using your head, rather than going after unrealistic targets? You're going to be on massive wages, and they're going to cost us 30, 40, 50 million pound.
I think a lot of people would want the younger model.
That's what I'm saying, I would.
Yeah.
But we're not going to know that till we get out of this like FFP jail that we're in.
Sad. It's sad, but we just need to see what happens as we go forward. Kevin Gwynn says, at this point, would you bring Tosun back into the squad? I imagine...
He'll be going in January.
Oh, he will be. He is going in January. But I imagine if he gets himself fit, he'll be included in squads until January, because we're light there, aren't we? So, personally, I'd rather have Sims, because Tosun's on his way out. It's a chance to look at Sims. Not saying he's the answer yet, but if you look and go, you know what, with another loan, he actually might be all right.
I think we'll know the answer to that question after the international break.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, what can you do? Right.
Are we done?
That is us. Sharon, we do have Sharon on, but she's not always available.
She's doing something with them tomorrow.
She's doing something with us tomorrow for the women's show, so check that.
She works for Everton, so...
Yeah. Paul Taylor says Simon Jordan has spoken more about Everton on TalkSport than anyone at the club has.
Yeah, very critical.
There you go. Right, thanks very much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't.
Bit of a wake, wasn't it, this one?
Sorry about that. Take it easy. We'll see you later. Bye.